Warning: Josh is not an expert in any of the things he talks about. He simply uses his head and does a lot of research so you, the audience, don't have to. Keep in mind, he doesn't know everything, so take the things he says with a grain of salt. What is going on, everyone? This is Josh from Josh Said What, the podcast that'll change the world. Now, this is a normal way I do my introductions, especially on my returning episode, but we had a little technical difficulty, so I had to switch it up a bit. But definitely stay tuned for this episode because this is an absolute banger. I have the ring announcer, Razor Ramon Flores on. We talk about Teofimo Lopez's retirement. We talk about Francis versus Tyson Fury, all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned.
Yeah, because I was out for a while for ring announcing. Uh, took a small little break, just family things going on, things like that. But this was my first show back with Des Hope
Hey.
Promotions, and most some of the fighters that fought that night I hadn't seen fight before. I think it was like two or three I hadn't seen fight before.
Okay.
So when they told me, "Hey, can you ask them some questions?" Uh, Usually it's easier for me because I know most of the fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So I seen what they do through training camps, and I know what questions to ask. But when it's with a fighter that I've never seen before, or I never really even followed, it's a little bit harder. But yeah, it's a little nerve wracking trying to figure out a question, especially if they do it in Spanish. It's just trying to translate that an English question into Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not easy.
I really have to say I love the culture, especially surrounding boxing here in Arizona, because getting to see how much of the Hispanic culture is precedent in it, as well as how ingrained it is in boxing history as well. It's really fascinating to see, especially because I'm always very fascinated with cultures, learning more in depth, and also seeing its impact on the community as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that when you talk about boxing, a lot of people think it's all in Vegas or it's all in California, but Arizona has been coming up on boxing,
Hmm.
especially having big cards here. Having David Benavidez come here, and having Jake Paul and Anderson Silva fight here, with
I
the foot,
forgot about that.
yeah, with the Footprint Center being built, and possibly if the Coyotes decide to stay here and build a stadium, that's another venue that other fights can be held here. Uh,
Hmm.
People, the culture here, especially, it's a predominantly Mexican crowd when you go to these fights, especially in the Phoenix metro area. When you go over there, that's basically the hub. There's hundreds and hundreds of gyms out there,
Hmm.
and even over here in the East Valley, we have some gyms out here, and even out in Coolidge or in Casa Grande, there's gyms everywhere. And Arizona in general is just you know I believe it's a boxing state. It's becoming a boxing state. Even up in Tucson, they have an amazing boxing fan base out there, and I've announced there twice already, and they are super super loud, energetic. The crowd is just amazing out there, and so even the Glendale crowd, the Phoenix crowd, it's all great. So, you keep going to each and every single one of these fights or fight nights, you'll start to see that, dang, like Arizona is becoming the next
Yeah.
mecca of boxing. So, I always tell people, man, don't sleep on Arizona boxing because it's definitely coming up.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Arizona has just been booming recently. Like I just met this guy. His name is Prince. Super dope dude. He's a boxer as well. He's going to be coming back as part of his pro fighting, and he actually brought over one time because we did an interview. We have to redo it because the audio messed up a bit. But he brought over a WC belt, the world champion belt that he was actually given to by David Benavidez. So I got to sit there, look at it, and see all the different flags on it. And it's crazy how popular boxing is becoming in Arizona. and how ingrained it's becoming more in the community because it's really going on a massive resurgence.
Oh, huge. And if you really notice too, it's even the young crowd starting to get into it
Mhm.
with, I'm sure you've seen the creators, the TikTok creators doing, boxing fight nights. They're doing that. And, um, they're bringing in that young crowd into boxing, especially with Jake Paul and Logan Paul boxing, things like that. They're bringing in a new crowd of boxing that I've seen so far in the last couple years. But yeah, um, I've seen a WBO lightweight belt before, from Ray Beltran. That he's from here in Phoenix, and
Okay.
I've seen his belt before, and it's insane holding those belts. Because when you see them on TV, you think, oh, like the way they grab them, they're so lightweight. They look lightweight, but they're
Yeah.
so like they're heavier. They're heavier. So it's crazy being able to get that experience to hold a world title belt.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so since you dove into that subject, I wanna get your opinion on it because there's always mixed opinions on how the social media boxing, like with Jake Paul,
Right.
Logan, KSI coming in, mixed opinions on the impact it's having on boxing. Some people, they say that it's having a negative impact in a sense that it's pushing more towards entertainment, but then we have other sides, such as your argument, that's actually introducing an entirely new group of, or should I say, entirely new crowd to the scene.
Yeah. So I really don't have an issue with it. I've been asked that question before. How do I feel about the content creators or
Mhm.
YouTubers having boxing fight nights? If they want to have a boxing fight night, by all means, they want to make a spectacle out of it. By all means, go do what you do. If you guys want to step into the ring and and beat each other up and do that for entertainment, that's on you.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
but I can see why older boxing heads have an issue with that, because they think they're doing it as a joke. And I'm kind of like, if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't really go out of my way to go watch a YouTuber boxing fight night. I have watched um the Jake Paul fights though.
Mhm.
I have watched those. But that's just me. I'll watch them just to watch them sometimes. It's just entertaining to me to just see. You know what? He has been training. He is in the gym. He has his own gym up in Puerto Rico, and he's training with other professional fighters. And you know what? I think he's putting in that work to be a real fighter. Then by all means, I believe he's a real fighter if he's doing that training, and he's training really, really hard. And that last fight that he fought against Tommy Fury, Tommy Fury's a real boxer, and
Mhm.
Tommy Fury beat him.
Yeah, and I
So
was actually impressed with Jake's performance against Tommy too, even though he was saying he's flat-footed or not feeling it
right,
and the back and forth. I do give him credit for the fact that he's really stepping up his game in a sense of who he's fighting.
right, and the thing is, it says a lot. He's stepping into the ring. Most of some people, they'll say, "Oh, this man's a joke. This man's this man's that," and it's not even just to Jake Paul. It's just to anybody that if they're a content creator. For me, if you're gonna step into the ring and you're generally gonna fight, then that takes a lot of courage to do, because not a lot of people that are talking down in down ringside or wherever. They're not gonna they would never step into the ring. They would
Mhm.
never put on lace a pair of gloves or anything like that. So I don't really have an issue with it. With content creator boxing, I don't really watch it. I kind of just mostly stick to professional. It is
Right.
to the professional level boxing. Watching these big name fights, I kind of stick to that. But by that's great. That's great. They're bringing in a younger crowd. Young kids now, they're looking at all these content creators. They want to go to a boxing gym.
Mhm.
So that it's bringing kids out too
Yeah,
to the boxing gyms, and I think that's awesome. So to me, I think, yeah, it's probably annoying a couple people, but also there's a positive to it. It's getting kids wanting to get up and get out and go train.
I
So
agree with that. I agree with that, especially because in this era too, kids, I feel like there's too many distractions
right,
that makes it easy for them to get lost in it, and combat sports, boxing, even, like, wrestling, all that, I
right,
100% endorse that because it instills a good sense of values and morals in each of these kids, and not only within themselves, but their ability to respect and engage with their peers, the
right.
camaraderie, the brotherhood that gets built within these communities in boxing and all of it is phenomenal, and it's something that you could carry with yourself for the rest of your life.
It's something that makes you more special than the average kid. Like, look at it this way. Back in high school, or back in where, junior high, middle school, uh, you're the captain of the football team, or you're the captain of the baseball team, whatever sport it is. Volleyball, basketball. Those are the predominantly, popular sports that are in, that you grow up with.
Mhm.
Any average kid will grow up with, you know
Right.
but it's not every day you hear of a kid, oh, I box, or I wrestle, or I do
Yeah.
mixed martial arts. You don't really hear that nowadays.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, I play basketball, or I play baseball. That's
Yeah.
great. You can't play boxing. It's really true what they say. You cannot play boxing at all. You can get hurt at any time.
Mhm.
Your training can come to an end for the rest of your life at sometimes too. It just all depends. It's a very dangerous sport, but it builds character, it builds mental toughness, it builds courage. Um, after you become, you start training, I feel like you just become more confident in yourself,
Mhm.
even after that. So I
Yeah.
think when kids want to go into combat sports and they want to train in wrestling, mixed martial arts, or even boxing, I say go for it. It'll make you stand out from the person next to you. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And, it's the quality relationships that you build too with everyone is also phenomenal because, it's at the end of the day, this whole community, we understand that nobody has to necessarily work together and cooperate with each other, but we understand that by doing so, we could build something greater, and the relationships you could build along the way that you could carry on, and then everything you've been saying as well. It's I think that's what for me particular sets why combat sports for me is the best set of sports in the world. For me, it's better than NFL, it's better than baseball, all that.
oh yeah, I trust me, I'm a big football fan. I love watching football, but when it comes to boxing, I love boxing
Yeah.
way more than anything. For me, it's like watching, it's like a Super Bowl Sunday every single weekend.
Mhm.
And I just don't watch boxing. I also watch the UFC too. I
Yeah.
like watching UFC, and and UFC and boxing. So there's always a fight on every single weekend. So and it's even the small fights that people don't really
Mhm.
watch. I love watching it. So for me, you know, boxing and combat sports, you you create a family. And with I've gone to these gyms before and watching these kids train. They make new friends, and those friends you're going to have for a lifetime. you
Yeah.
know you I when I started in the boxing gym and I started training in the boxing gym, I still have friends that I used to spar with that are now pro fighters now. And it's awesome knowing that, hey, you know what, I've trained in the same gym as them. And they know me, I know them, and it's all about a respect thing, and it's all family thing. Boxing is family, and you
Yeah.
create a new family even once you join the sport. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And so for yourself, because I always For me, ages always crack me up because I'm so used to being the youngest amongst everyone.
Yeah,
So when I found out you and I are the same age, 26,
yeah.
27, I was like, "Holy crap." And I always think about for myself, I never imagined myself to be a part of anything like this at this age. And for you yourself, did you think you'd be on the same path?
Oh, no way. No way. In high school, um, I really got into making videos and movies and things like that.
Okay.
So I always thought, "Oh, okay, maybe I'll just make, like, movies," you know? And then at one point, I wanted to be a police officer, and so, in high school, the whole ring announcing thing, that was just, like, that'd be cool if it happens, but
Mm,
if it doesn't, no big deal. It was just a dream to me. It wasn't anything like I was chasing, at
mhm,
that time. So when I got out of high school, um, I remember I was studying law in college and community college, and then one day I just kind of thought to myself, like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Do I want to, wake up every day and do this, will I be happy? Will I be,
mhm.
okay with it? And I was like, no, I don't think I would. So I switched over and went to sports journalism and stuff like that. And at 19, that's when I started doing everything. So, um, yeah, if I would talk to myself in high school and I would say, hey, you're going to be a ring announcer for professional boxing, you're going to meet all these great people, you're going to create all these great friends, I would probably say you're lying. So,
That'd be how I am too, because it's crazy to see how fast everything goes, but just how phenomenal the experience is. Because I've only Del Sol was the third boxing event I've ever been to, and no matter what, every event I go to, there's always a type of energy that you can't forget. So
oh,
it's
yeah.
something that carries forever.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, if that's for any promotion you go to, and I highly suggest you go to the Navarrete versus Valdez fight that's coming here for Top Rank. And
Hey.
when you see these big promotion um, companies that come into town like Showtime, The Zone, or ESPN Top Rank, it's a completely different entity. I'm telling you right now. You're talking about an entire arena packed filled of just boxing fans in general,
Mhm.
and it's insane. I've been ringside for Benavides fights. I've been ringside for Top Rank fights, and it's insane. I'm telling you right now, it's insane watching the crowd just get riled up, pumped up. It's absolutely just magnetic.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy, and I love every second of it, and with Arizona especially, I really wanna pay a compliment to the fighters themselves too,
Oh
because,
yeah.
like, me and my partner James, we talk about all the time. It's like Arizona fighters, boxers, they're a different breed. I don't know if it's just because how hot it is here or it's just whatever it is, but we're really seeing a massive growth with the quality of fighters too that you see come out of here.
Oh, a lot of people don't realize that Arizona probably has one of the best batch of boxers and fighters that you will see, amateur and professional level.
Mhm.
And I announce amateur level boxing too. I'll go
Nice.
to amateur boxing levels and I'll announce these young boxers that are coming up in the amateur level, and they're fighting like pros. The way they train like pros. There's some of these boxers that train at gyms that have professional boxers.
Mhm.
And it's insane to watch these kids because one day you're going to look at them and they will go pro. Some of them will go pro and will chase that world title. And you'll look back and you'll think to yourself, dang, I actually announced that young boxer when he or she was, in the amateur level. whether they were 8 years old or 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
It's insane to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, because when I sit and when I think of myself and interviews, I don't think of that something as just one single thing I want to do forever. I want to be able to branch off into other things as well. And for you yourself, d as you progress further and you get older, do you have any other ambitions or goals that you want to do, whether it's a part of boxing or anything else?
Yeah, so obviously right now what I'm trying to chase is the big stage. Get
Mhm.
a big TV, spotlight spot to announce. Um, it's all about being patient and working hard, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Right now, that's my goal. Later on, though, you know, hopefully make it into the boxing Hall of Fame as an announcer. I know they put announcers in there.
That'd
That's
be dope.
another, yeah, that'd be an awesome um, goal to do. But one huge dream I have, if or when it's God's plan, if I make it big in announcing, uh, use that and build a boxing gym here in Mesa,
Nice.
Arizona. This is where I was born, bred, and brewed. 480 fed. I love Mesa, and so probably I would love to build a boxing gym here and have the community be a part of it and bring kids that, especially kids that can't afford to go to a boxing gym,
Mhm.
make it a nonprofit gym, have these kids that need that discipline instilled in them, or that don't necessarily have to worry about paying a dime of their money to come train. I want everybody to come to the gym and train, and so that's one dream of mine that I would love to do later on down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And me and my partner James, we really push a lot with kids as well because not only with just instilling the correct values, but it's just to bring back that passion, the drive, the hunger to see what we're capable of achieving, especially with these kids too. And providing outlets for them is a phenomenal way, not only to keep them out of trouble, especially because there's been how many boxers and great fighters that we've seen all across modern era and modern history where they did not have anything good growing up. Mike Tyson, the perfect example. He grew
Yeah,
up rough, and boxing became an outlet, and that's what ultimately got him out of that situation and made him successful.
yeah. Some of these professional boxers, they had a better chance than others, and some of them didn't have the great chance, like what you just said right now. Mike Tyson, he grew up in a bad part of Brooklyn. Also,
Mhm,
Floyd Mayweather, he came from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've watched so many documentaries about him, and he would run, knee deep in the snow just to go to a boxing gym and train.
mhm,
So some of these kids, they don't have that opportunity, but the ones that know, the ones that really want it bad, they'll do stuff like that to go.
mhm,
And when when my coach Randy Robles was here in Mesa, and we were training at a gym, we had kids that would come into the gym, and they just would get excited putting on a pair of gloves. And some of them, they didn't have a lot of money, but
mhm,
I remember training um, these brothers, and I had a couple pair of gloves. And I remember I gave one of my pair of gloves to one of the brothers because he really wanted to train, and I told him, "Hey, I'm gonna give you these gloves. I've used them before. I got a new pair right now, so I'm gonna give you these. I know you really want to train." And he used those gloves each and every single day until literally they were faded out. The paint was coming off of them and all that. So um, I think creating like an atmosphere of that, and
mhm,
having you know and it doesn't even have to be kids from just unfortunate times. It can be just
Mhm.
any kid. If they want to come in there and train, I feel like having an atmosphere or a place like that for them to even get their feet wet into the sport, I think it'd be awesome. So
Yeah. Absolutely, because you never know, it's you say that you tell that story with that kid, and he wore them every single day until they faded out, whether it's 15, 20, 25 years from now, just that single act of kindness could have set him on a path to where he could be doing tremendous, phenomenal things 20, 25 years from now, and it's all
oh
because of that one moment, because the fact whether they come from a good or bad background, because you gave them something that sparked that fire, that made that something that really stuck with them and became a moving force for them to become a better version of themselves.
yeah, to even piggyback off that, um, my brother um, introduced me to some brothers of at that time of a person he was dating, and he asked me, he's like, they really want to train, they really want to train, and I trained them. And this was even during COVID. I have videos too of me hitting, the working mitts with them and having a bodyguard on. And this was during COVID time, and I was training them and having them work out and having them run sprints and do push-ups and all that, and teaching them the fundamentals. And now that brother, he had graduated high school. Now he's in the army. Right now he's in boot camp, and he had told my brother, like, my brother asked him, like, "Oh, are you, kind of nervous for the workout and stuff like that?" And my and he told my brother, "Well, he's like, I'm not super nervous, but if it was anything like what your brother trained me in, then I think I'll be ready because he trained me really well." So I didn't, when I was training them, I didn't really think anything of it. I was
Mhm.
just doing it because I love doing it. But
Yeah.
now, after he said that, I was like, "Dang, that made a huge impact," and that was huge to hear, and it was really nice to hear because I was like, "Dang, I didn't think I was doing anything special," but that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, that really is, and so if you felt like if there was one thing that or one type of impact or impression you'd wanna leave on the youth, what type of impression or impact would you wanna have on them?
Uh, I would want them to know that I 100% supported them and believed in them. The one person that believed in them. If they didn't have anybody else that believed in them, I want them to know that I believed in them. So, if these kids, if they follow my career and they see me on the big stage and they say, "You know what? He's announced me and he said he believed in me," and they actually believe that, which it is true. I do believe in each and every single one of them. That's one thing I would want them to know and to carry on, that I 100%. If nobody else believes in them, I believe in them. So that's what I would want them to know.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's major respect. That's major respect because it's we all come from so many different backgrounds and different areas and different environments, and with boxing, combat sports especially, again, I always bring it back to the brotherhood, but it has such a way with especially children to teach them to be ambitious and driven, and it's something that gives them that fire back to believe in themselves, and the fact that they have people such as yourself, these coaches like, I always forget his name, but like Mike Tyson's coach, for example, before he passed away, just
Yeah.
having those people, it's major respect, man.
Oh no, man. I 100% agree with you. Uh, Boxing coaches, or you find a mentor out there that just gives their time to you. I think right now the most expensive thing out there is time.
Mhm.
You know, my boxing coach Randy Robles, he gave me his time, and I didn't. Before I even started all this, he believed that I could do it. I
Mhm.
didn't think I can do it, but he believed in, that I can do it. I remember I told him, "Man, I hope I can do it. I hope I can make it happen." And he had stopped me and he was like, "Hope? Man, you hoped that you could get an interview with, so and so. You hoped that you can, do interviews backstage at some of these fights. Man, you hoped that you can do, this, you hoped all along, man. No, it's all about your hard work. You
Mhm.
believed in yourself. So there's no more hoping. Believe in yourself and you can do it. Whatever you want to do, you believe in yourself, you can do it. And having that one person, you know, to push you and believe in you and tell you you can do it, it's insane. And you know what?
Mhm.
I thank my boxing coach every single day, and also his wife too, because his wife, they helped me kick off everything when it came to creating Razor Sharp Sports, the logo, the colors. They helped me do all that stuff because I would have never thought to create a logo or a brand or even sell shirts because I have shirts. I would have never thought of that. It was a dream at one point, as a kid, like, man, that'd be really cool to sell, my name on a shirt or have a brand. And now I look at it and I have friends that, buy my merch and wear my shirts every single day. And some of them they'll send me pictures like, "Hey, I'm at the gym wearing your shirt."
Hey.
It's insane because it's like that's me. That's my brand. It's not every day someone's gonna, you know, pay their hard-earned money and
Mhm.
buy your shirts. And to me that's huge.
Mhm. Yeah, the fact that he takes that time where they're so invested that they even take pictures of themselves with the shirt on to send it to you.
Right.
That's true respect right there.
Oh yeah, I have longtime friends, my high school buddies, my boxing buddy, my boxing family. My friend Luis Madrid with Box Talk, and I wear his merch, and every single time I send him a picture or I tag him, he's always grateful that I wear his stuff. And some of these professional fighters like Jesus Ramos
Mhm.
and and his dad, his coach, they'll wear my shirts and I'll see them training with my shirt on, and I'm like, holy crap, that's huge, because Jesus Ramos is a huge superstar at the moment. But
Yeah.
it's awesome, having friends that wear your merch and then having friends that have merch and you wear their merch,
Mhm.
and it's awesome.
It really is awesome. It really is. And so this is something that just popped in my head, but I wanna get your take on it because it was just announced today. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou in October. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
yeah, no, I sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, yeah, I saw that. You know, am I excited to watch it? Not. I'm gonna be honest, not really. Um, I know they've both been MIA for a while,
Mhm.
um, but like I said, it's gonna bring two different crowds. The UFC crowd and the boxing crowd are gonna watch that fight. Will I watch the fight? I don't know, really. It's kind of more of a game time decision. I don't really know how I feel about it because I feel like a better fight could have been made, but
Mhm.
I know there's issues going on with Yushek. He's a Ukraine fighter, and things right now in Ukraine aren't going great.
Mhm.
Just money and boxing politics, and I think that's the biggest thing. Probably is boxing politics that are
Mhm.
you know pushing back the fights that the boxing heads want to see. But they're both power punchers. You know, Francis Ngannou is a huge power puncher in the UFC. He wasn't a heavyweight champion for no reason, and
Mhm.
neither is Tyson Fury. But if this is a boxing match, 100% I give it to Tyson Fury unless Francis Ngannou just shocks me and throws that one punch. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. So, but boxing gloves have are more padded than UFC gloves. So,
Yeah.
we'll see how that plays out. Am I gonna watch it? I don't know yet. It's more of a game time decision.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know stylistically, I can't help to give it over to Tyson, because I absolutely love Francis, I absolutely love
Right.
him, but with Tyson especially, it's yeah, think about it, it's an MMA fighter that's crossing over into the boxing sport, and
Right.
that's very trouble. It gets pretty hard, especially with the caliber of a fighter that Tyson Fury is. Like, he already went through an entire trilogy with Deontay Wilder. You've
Right.
seen all the other combatants he's fought and dominated, and Tyson Fury, he's the Gypsy King, it's
Yeah.
the way he is in the ring, and then the power he brings, and then he is so fast and agile for someone his size. I really don't know how Francis will be able to match up to that.
Yeah, and how I always tell people, I'm not taking anything away from MMA. MMA is an insane sport. We, boxing, you just have to block one type of thing, and that's the fist.
Yeah.
You know, and in MMA, you have to worry about the kicks, the knees, the elbows, or the wrestling, things like that. But
Mhm.
MMA is a sprint, right? It's a sprint. Boxing is a cross country type of run. You know,
Mhm.
boxing, you have 12 rounds, 3 minutes, and for MMA, it's what, 3 rounds, 5 minutes, if that,
Yeah.
or championship rounds. It depends. Um, so in MMA, they're full on. It's a sprint. They're fighting each other. They're using all their energy super quick to get that person on. In boxing, you can break down your opponent.
Mhm.
It'll take a little bit of time to break down the opponent, but
Yeah.
it's more of a long distance run, and we've seen it before. We've seen that type of fight before with Floyd and Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Um, Floyd Mayweather said so himself. He wasn't worried about Conor McGregor. He said he's gonna he's gonna let him feel his power, but he's gonna keep punching him to the body because there's no way there's no way he's gonna have gas in that gas tank past round 7 or 8. And what happened in round 9, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he ended up knocking out Conor McGregor because you start to see Conor McGregor start to get gassed out,
Yep.
and because he's not used to something like that. So I think it's gonna be an exciting fight for both fan bases. But if I had to choose, I would 100% choose Tyson Fury for that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and, it's like it's never any disrespect to, like, Francis or even Connor, because it's the reality of the sport. Combat sports in of itself is an unforgiving sport. Survival of the fittest to the extent, and, like, even with Connor's situation, absolutely love Connor, and my heart wanted him to win, but
Yeah,
logically speaking, I knew Floyd was gonna win because of he's a boxer. Not only that, he's one of the best boxers, his defense, his cardio, endurance, his ability to sustain and adapt, and his intellectual capacity. And that's my same approach with, a Tyson versus Francis. As much as my heart would want Francis to win because I start off with MMA, logically, I kind of have to give it to Tyson to that extent.
yeah. But anything could happen. It just takes
Yeah.
that one punch. You know,
Yeah.
Francis could land that one punch, and we've seen it with Deontay Wilder landing that huge right hand that he always lands, and he knocked down
Hmm.
Tyson Fury. We could see that by Francis Ngannou. I'm definitely not closing the door on him, but
Hmm.
if distance wise, I'm giving it to Tyson Fury for sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? No no respect, no disrespect to Francis Ngannou. He's an amazing athlete.
Hmm.
He's he is a former UFC heavyweight champion, or if he still is, I'm not sure. Um, but you know what? He's a champion in his division, so he's stepping into the ring with Tyson Fury, and That takes a lot. It's a huge risk to do, but I think he has my respect in that way. To
Mhm.
step into any ring. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then we just recently saw somebody now officially making their step out of the ring now with Teofimo Lopez. I don't know all the details with this situation, but I've seen some of it. Honest, I feel heartbroken about it just hearing how he is.
yeah, definitely following his career. Teofimo did a lot. Himself. He became a world champion, and he went out. Technically, he went out on top,
Mhm.
and he's fought with you know crazy injuries, especially with the one with his heart. The doctors told him if you go in there, you could possibly die. Some people think it's bogus, other people don't. Other people don't believe it's bogus. I don't think it was bogus. To say something like that, on a live interview, especially on a huge platform like ESPN Plus, I don't think he would lie about something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and for me that shows that he loves the sport. You can love boxing, but sometimes boxing will love you back. And you know, I am sad that he retired so young, but you know what? He wants to retire from the sport. That's great. He went out on top. He won the world title, and he wanted to go out that way. That's great. Obviously it's unfortunate that he retired, but
Mhm.
you know what? It could be for many, many reasons. Obviously, it's no secret the medical thing was probably a huge thing. That could probably be for that. But you know what? He put in the work.
Mhm.
He's probably been training since he was a kid. So to go out on top and retire like that, that's that's probably great for him. And you know what? He has my full on respect.
Yeah. Same, same. Even though I didn't get a chance to follow too much of his career, I definitely he caught my eye back when he fought Vasyl Lomachenko and beat him. And then
Yes.
since then, seeing his journey and then all the struggles he's been through, you can't help but to fall in love with the guy in the sense of the character he is, or the type of character he is, and then his impact and what he wanted out of life. And like you said, he loves the sport of boxing, but sometimes it doesn't love you back. And it's the little retirement video that I saw. It said he was saying like not even a million is enough anymore. Now he's tired of like getting bullied all the time and everything. And I just, man, my heart goes out to him.
Yeah, a lot of people will probably, disagree and say, "Oh, you know what? He could have had a couple more." They said the same thing to Andre Ward when he retired so early, and he said the same thing. Everybody goes up to him and says, "Hey, you still have one more in you," and I believe he always tells them, "Yeah, and I want to keep that one." You know,
Mhm.
so for them to retire so early, that's great. That they get that option to do that, and boxing is a brutal sport. It's it's absolutely you can go in there fine and you can come out busted up or possibly even injured for life. So
Yep.
if you get that option to one retire early and two retire on top as a world champion, by all means do it. And Teofimo, he put in the work to do that. And you know what? Like you said before, you caught him later into his career, um, and I can see that you probably wanted to see a little bit more fights because he's an exciting fighter.
Mhm.
And but you know what? I'm glad he gets to retire so early, and especially retiring as a world champion. So I'm happy for him. You got to be happy for someone that gets to do that. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I completely agree with that. And I really hope the best for him. And I know I guarantee this ain't gonna be the end of him in a sense of just being a boxer. I guarantee he's gonna be able to branch off into way more stuff.
Oh yeah, he could be a commentator. He can be um, a boxing analyst. You know, because
Hmm.
nowadays, I remember talking to a professional fighter at one time, and I asked him how he felt about commentators, you know, that never boxed before, but they're boxing experts. And I asked him about that, and you know, because sometimes you'll see these post-fight interviews, they'll ask questions that are out of line or some that will get that particular fighter triggered. And I remember asking him that, and he said, okay. He's like, for me personally, he's like, I don't really have that respect, that full respect for them. He's like, because they've never stepped into the ring before. They've never, you know, been punched in the face before. They've never trained like us before. They never cut weight like us before. They've never gotten a cut, you know, on the eye like us before. They don't know what we go through in the ring, inside and outside the ring. So, how are they an expert at a sport that they've never done before in their
Hmm.
lifetime? And they're sitting there and saying, "Oh, well, I think he should have done this, or I think he should have, you know, fought this way." How would they know? They've never done it before. He compared it to how how are you gonna that's like if someone telling a soldier that went to war and telling them the dangers of war when they've never been to war themselves.
Hmm.
So I think that was a cool comparison the way he said that. But you know, it's I don't know. That's how you know that's I kind of agreed with him on that one. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
but Teofimo, you know, he's been in the sport. He would know what he was talking about. So I think he'd be a great commentator, especially one he's been in the sport. He knows the sport. Most of the fighters that he's fought are still in the sport right now competing. So I think that'd be a great thing. A boxing analysis, a commentator. I think
Hmm.
he'd be great. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see that in his future.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. But I think so. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. So I definitely want to say thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on. It was honestly dope meeting you. I'm jealous of the suit. I'm gonna have to get one like that.
Oh man, you come up. You look dapper yourself too when you come up. You come up with a full on suit too, and you know it's just a style. It's just a style that I wanted to do something different. Wearing the sneakers and not a lot of ring announcers that I know of right now are wearing Jordans with their suits, and I feel like that makes me stand out. It's a little thing, you could always get the nice flashy suits, but
Yeah.
you add a little sneakers in there. I think it makes you different from everybody else.
Oh no, yeah. You stood out immediately. I could tell. I love the suit. What was it, Perry Ellis?
Yeah, no, actually, I get my suits from. I get them. Some of them I get from the Phoenix swap meet. They're just a suit jacket sometimes. Some of them I get from Nick's Menswear, and some of them I
That's a
get
good
from
one.
J.C. Penney. Yeah, some of them I get from J.C. Penney, Nick's Menswear, the Phoenix swap meet. That's that's like my secret spot right there. I have
Hmm.
one from the Phoenix swap meet, and you know, to me, they don't need to be $1,000. Some of them I get a clearance rack, $50. The velvet
Hmm.
ones, all of them, they were less than $50. So,
Yeah, it's all
um,
about the person wearing it, right?
right, it doesn't matter how much it costs. You know, you can save yourself a couple $100 and get it off the clearance rack, and if it fits, great, use it. And there's some suits in there that I haven't used yet, and I just need to find a pair of shoes that matches with them. That's the only reason why I haven't worn them.
Yeah, we gotta make that happen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, before I let you go, do you want to give a special shout out to anybody? Any thanks to anyone at all?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that's followed me, everybody that's came up to me and told me good job. All my family, especially for always, pushing me and believing in me. Most importantly, my wife. She's, you met her that night.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I did meet her.
She's there ringside for each and every single time that I announce, and not a lot of wives will do that for their husband, so that makes her extremely special, and I'm very thankful for her. I'm thankful for, my producer, editor, photographer, Josh Hunt. He's a longtime buddy of mine. He was there that night. He's the one that edits all my videos, and
Nice.
um, all my my boxing friends that I've made. My other good friend Luis Madrid. We've done a couple interviews together before too, so I like to give him thanks. My boxing coaches, everybody, all my family, pretty much, and everybody that's continued to follow me on all my social media platforms, and I'm thankful for them because without them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So they're the most important people. The people that believe in me, that support me, and that continue to watch me grow in each and every single day. So all those people are important.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And I appreciate you so much. And I definitely want to say as well, something I always love to say is that, if you feel you have the capacity to do greatness or to achieve great things, then it's your obligation to the world to do so. And the lives that you're going to change in the process is what brings that reverence and that brings that passion and that makes it full circle.
Oh yeah. And to anybody out there that wants to do, especially what you're doing, a podcast or anything, go out and do it. If you
Hmm.
want to go do it, go out and do it. No one's stopping you. People along the way are always going to say, I don't think you can, you're too young, you're too this, you're too that. Those are the people that don't believe in themselves.
Hmm.
So if you believe you can go do it, take it. Don't fake it, just take it. You want it bad, go get it. Nothing's going to stop you. With whatever you want to do, go out and do it. And you don't have to start, full on right off the bat. When I started doing all this stuff, I did all the interviews off my phone
Hmm.
and I made it work. So you got to start somewhere. You got to build up somewhere. And people think that when I started doing all this, I instantly went into ring announcing. I did not do that. I started from the bottom. I worked my way up and I'm continuing to work my way up. So
Hmm.
it's all about the patience and the drive, to get to where you are, and it's going to take time and effort, and it's not easy. I'm sure it's not been easy for you also. There's times where you want to just throw everything away and quit, and there's times where it'll test you, but
Hmm.
if you want it bad enough, you'll overcome all those obstacles and you'll just get to where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. And hey, thank you so much for coming on. I definitely say we need more people like you to lead by example for these kids. So I definitely encourage you and I'm really excited to see how our relationship is going to play out moving forward, man. I really am.
Oh, well, you know what, man? It's all love from over here. I'm super duper thankful for actually meeting you there and creating this new relationship, especially in the sport. So I'm thankful for you to even wanting to interview me. It's awesome, being on the other side of it and getting interviewed. So I'm super thankful for you, and I'm very excited for your future in this sport. It's only going to get better and it's only going to get greater. So, um, um, we're going to continue working, and I'm sure we'll be coming up with different projects too.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And hey, you heard it, people. This is Josh Said What. This is the podcast that will change the world. We're going to make it happen one way or another. And hey, until next time.
See ya.